One of the most powerful frameworks in my 9 steps process is what I call the 4-point action loop. Everything you do on a daily basis can be summarized into one of these 4 classifications. Let's get to work. Hey, it's Rick Walker here, and I want to ask you a question. What if I told you that comfort, well, it's overrated? That comfort fades, but meaning endures. See, most self-help videos and programs promise you pleasure and comfort, but if you're like me, you've learned that comfort can quietly kill your potential and destroy your energy. Meaning, a life of purpose, that's what wakes you up every morning with that fire in your gut. And in this short series, I'm going to show you exactly how to build that life of meaning. But don't just take my word for it. Former Secretary of HUD and the holder of 60 honorary doctorates, Dr. Ben Carson, said my 9 steps work is what he calls a profound, refreshing, and triumphantly hopeful way of thinking. I've been where you are, public defeat on national news, clouded mind, near to losing my family, my finances in disarray. And using these 9 steps, I rebuilt a flourishing life. You see, I've done some stuff. I began in the poverty of a 2-bedroom home. I grew a company from 0 to 400 employees by the time I turned 26. I scaled another business I started into 6 states. I then took a nonprofit and scaled it into 50 countries and thousands of team members. And I'm a husband, I'm a dad, I'm a big idea simplifier. And along the way, I took notes of the lessons I learned. And after reading 1,000 books, 1,000, and interviewing over 100 of the most competent men alive, I distilled all of it into this 9-step system where anyone, no matter what you've been through, can begin to build meaning. Now I'm gonna hand you this roadmap in this series of videos. One of the most powerful frameworks in my 9 steps process is what I call the 4-point action loop. Everything you do on a regular basis can be summarized into one of these 4 classifications. Let's get to work. So you've got something first that starts, we call it the trigger. This cues a signal that begins any action. The second part is a temptation. The trigger then brings out a desire for something. Then you've got a routine. This routine, the third step in the process, this action takes place which fulfills what's typically rewarded. And that's the 4th step, is the reward. There's always a reward. There's always a reason why we do something. This reward here, this is the desire fulfilled. And the brain trusts that this cycle works for next time. And the reward often will serve as a trigger into your next temptation, routine, and reward. And this reward leads us up back into a trigger. Now, one of the issues that we have here is that this cycle needs to be broken. Let me give you an example of how to break this cycle. If I'm walking through the kitchen at night, and I pass by the pantry, I'm walking into the kitchen at night for a glass of high protein, low sugar milk, like a Fairlife milk or a Mootopia milk, because it's healthy for me. I need a little bit extra protein in my diet. I need a lot more protein in my diet. This trigger is that I walk past the pantry and I know what's in there. What's in there? I'm tempted by the Oreos that are in there. That's right, because Oreos and milk go phenomenally well together for some reason. It's black magic. So the routine is that I could dip the Oreos into the milk, and whenever I do that and I eat it, I'm rewarded with the pleasure of this perfectly saturated Oreo that then triggers my desire for another Oreo, and the one Oreo turns into 3, turns into 5 Oreos. This is how this process works. But what if I could take this trigger when I walk by the pantry at night and I have got this milk in my hand? What if instead of on the 3rd shelf where the Oreos are, I went up to the 4th shelf? Or maybe even I put the Oreos up on the very, very top shelf or got rid of them, and I saw that there was some peanut butter there. There's peanut butter in that pantry. And I took a scoop of peanut butter, like a big, large tablespoon of peanut butter, and I got maybe an extra 10 grams of protein in for the day, maybe a couple of scoops, and was able to enjoy that with the milk because peanut butter and milk actually go fairly well together. Well, then I begin to create a routine. The routine is that I'm going to indulge in my protein in the night. I'm able to round up that 150 grams of protein I'm supposed to be getting every day at night with a glass of milk and some peanut butter. And what it leads me to is I realized that I made a healthy choice instead of an unhealthy choice. And what that helps me to do is the next morning when I wake up, I realize, hey, I haven't had really very many carbs in my system for the past 12 to 20 hours. Maybe I could continue that. Maybe I could even find myself at a state of ketosis over the next couple of days and be able to have some additional mental clarity. And so that desire for health maybe turns into some eggs and some steak and a different trajectory for the next day. And this leads us back into a different routine. And so what we've done is we've hacked this temptation and this trigger where instead of temptation and looking for the Oreos on the third shelf, we put them up the top shelf. And what do we see? We see right above it, or right even easier to get to, we see this peanut butter. So there we see a good habit replacing a bad habit, and we use this using the 4-point action loop. If you understand and upgrade this loop, you can change almost any part of your life. And the best part, you don't need to transform everything overnight. You just need to start working one point in the loop. I'm not here as a guru. You and I are just two students sitting in the same classroom of life, comparing notes of what's worked and what hasn't. I'm here as a man who fell flat, and who learned the hard way that success without meaning is empty. And my life was cracking under the weight of everything at work and at home, and I had to rebuild. And I didn't do it with hacks or motivational fluff. I did it by discovering timeless steps that have worked for centuries. Maybe right now you're thinking, yeah, Rick, but this won't work for me. I've tried everything and nothing ever sticks. And I get it. That's exactly where I was, stuck, skeptical, exhausted by all the false promises. But here's what's different. This is not another feel-good formula by a thinker, by a theoretician, by an academic. This is a system tested in ancient wisdom, battlefield level hardship, and real-world leadership by a doer. In the next video, I'm going to show you why ordinary guys, even guys at rock bottom, have used this to radically transform their lives. We're going to dive into something surprising. The truth is that most men aren't lacking potential. No, they're lacking movement. And these 10 urgency accelerators that we're going to cover in the next video will help you move forward fast. And I'll help you discover the direction to go, the vision, the purpose. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss this. So here's what I want you to do right now. Comment below. What's one challenge or enemy you know you need to face? And is there a way that you can use this 4-point action loop, the trigger, the temptation, the routine, the reward, to hack into it? And if you go to rickwalker.com and sign up for my newsletter, I will send you immediately a detailed breakdown and some examples of how to use this 4-point action loop. And then number 2, my request is that you tag a friend or share with a friend who needs to hear this, that has a habit that they've been struggling with or wants to make more of what they're doing on a daily basis. Share it with them. And make sure you subscribe so that you get the next video as soon as it drops. You can subscribe at rickwalker.com and click on the newsletter. So this is your moment. Meaning is waiting. Let's walk this road together. Thanks.